right, Shalom. We got to do it. Shalom. This is the last article of prophetic news.
All right. So this is from Russian News, RT News. It says Russian Navy U.F.O records say aliens love oceans. All right. It says the Russian Navy has declassified its records of encounters with unidentified objects, technologically surpassing anything humanity ever built. Reports Sobodnaya Pressa news website. The records dating back to Soviet times were compiled by a special Navy group collecting reports of unexplained incidents delivered by submarines and military ships. It says the group was headed by Deputy Navy Commander Admiral Nikolai Smirnov. It says, in the documents revealed numerous cases of possible UFO encounters. The website says Vladimir Azaza, former Navy officer and famous Russian UFO researcher, says the materials are of great value. 50% of UFO encounters are connected with oceans, 15 more with lakes. So UFOs tend to stick to the water, he said. It says on one occasion a nuclear submarine which was on a combat mission in the Pacific Ocean detected 6 unknown objects after the crew failed to leave behind their pursuers.
Exactly. So they thought because they was Russian, they got the newest technology with them high-powered nuclear submarine powered. So they thinking they got the newest technology, so they can outrun some shit. But when they see this, they say, "Oh, cuz this some new shit." Yeah.
Right. It says after the crew failed to leave behind their pursuers by maneuvering, the captain ordered to surface. The objects followed suit, took to the air, and flew away. Many mysterious events happened in the region of Bermuda Triangle, recalls retired submarine commander Rear Admiral Yuri Beketov. It says instruments malfunctioned with no apparent reason or detected strong interference. The former Navy officer says this could be deliberate disruption by UFOs.
Exactly. They let off that electrical pulse, fire your computer chip, turn everything off, everything. Because the angels can do that themselves. So what actually make the ships though? The angels.
Right.
So this man,
Pure
that's
energy.
called information. Go ahead, my man.
No, go ahead. No, I just said pure energy.
Yeah, that's called information disinformation. He gave you the information, then he dissed the information, all in the same token.
That's Psalms 104.
Oh yeah.
143. It says,
Oh, okay.
Psalms 104 and 3.
We'll just take time.
Okay.
Just get the Luke.
Okay.
The Luke 9 and 33. Right. This Psalms 104, 3-4. Who left the beams of his chambers in the water? Because what did they say? The UFOs like to be towards the water more, and another 15% towards the lake. See that? So who left the beams of his chambers in the water? His name is Yahushua. Who maketh the clouds his chariots? Who walketh upon the wings of the wind? Who maketh his angel spirits his minister a flaming fire? Because the angels, which you know this camp, we do it all the time outside, inside, whatever. The angels, according to Ezekiel 1, all the way to almost the end of the chapter, actually make the ships. That's why this starts off with who layeth the beams of his chambers in the water, meaning who got the ships in the water. Self-explanatory. Russia already told you. Who maketh the cloud his chariot? Because you see what happened. That motherfucker came out the water and did what? Took flight. Who walketh upon the wings of the wind? His name is Yahushua. Who maketh his angel spirits? Because that's who actually formed the ship. That's why that's written the way it's written.
This is Luke chapter 9, verses 33
to 36.
It says, and it came to pass, as they departed from him, Peter said unto Yahushua, Master, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, and one for Elias. Not knowing what he said, while he thus spake, there came a cloud and overshadowed them, and they feared as they entered into the cloud. And there came a voice out of the cloud, saying, This is my beloved Son, hear him. And when the voice was past, Yahushua was found alone, and they kept it close, and told no man in those days any of those things which they had seen.
Right. Yeah. So did the cloud actually cover them? No, it's called the U.F.O.
That's right.
Well, we know it as the chariots of Israel. Nahum 1 and 4. This 2 Kings 2 Kings 2 and 9. This is about Elijah. A lot of our ancestors actually deal with these ships. 2 Kings 2 and 9. And it came to pass when they were going over that Elijah said to Elijah, Ask what I will do for thee before I will be taken away from thee. And Elijah said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. And he said, Thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be so. And it came to pass that they was, and it came to pass as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire, horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by the whirlwind into heaven. And Elijah saw it and cried, my father, the chariots of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in 2 pieces. So that's giving you a clear inside look that is not called chariots. Oh shit, who's that? The chariots of Israel.
Yeah, that's mine.
As you can see. And that's our history. And it ain't no mystery.
That's right.
Yep, so explaining through the scriptures that these UFOs, so-called UFOs, they've been around. And now they exposing it, that these UFOs do be all around, more and more. But it comes out the Bible. So that ain't nothing new. Hence that the Lord, Yahweh Shem is going to come in those so-called UFOs.
Right. So, and one other thing
You can put
is
that at
that
the beginning. Or the end, it don't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, it go in the middle of Isaiah, but...
right, and another thing, the elites get to see the guys that's sitting in the general seats, the guys that's at the top,
Okay.
all right? Because the Most High don't deal with no peon people. He deal with those that's ruling and actually ruling, all right? That's in the top.
Yeah.
So this is Nahum 2 and 4.
Wonderful.
1 and 4. It says, He rebuketh the sea and maketh it dry, and drieth up all the rivers. Bashan languisheth, and Carmel and the flower of Lebanon languisheth. The mountains quake at him, and the hills melt, and the earth is burned at his presence. Yea, the world and all that dwell therein. Who can stand before his indignation, and who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? This fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. The Lord is good and a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him.
Yeah, no. Is that
It's
Nahum?
Yeah, it's 1 and 4, but it's
Oh,
in the
okay.
chariot shall rage in the
2 and
streets.
4.
This is
Make sure
Nahum,
we write that.
Nahum 2 and 4, slightly. It says the chariot.
Which no, that was beautiful to start with that for them to understand his fierceness and his anger, since he all love.
Right.
Because
That's what they
Russian
call it back then.
Navy is getting ready for these UFOs, and it ain't finna be no love.
Right. It says that Nahum 2 and 4. It says the chariots shall rage in the streets.
That proved that it ain't finna be no love. The chariots of Israel, which y'all know as you common people, as UFOs, they're gonna be raging in the streets. I wonder why. Maybe the same guys that's flying them ships that's gonna be raging. What else they gonna be doing?
They shall jostle one against another
Right, so they gonna be running into each other to do what?
in the broad ways.
Right, meaning all in y'all big city streets that you can put 4 cars lane by lane. Oh, this is a 4. See, our city's so big, we got a 4-lane highway.
Says they shall seem like torches.
They shall seem like torches. You ever seen the flamethrower? Matter of fact, any of y'all ever seen World War II? When they was going there in Hitler little bases and shit in the 45 bunkers, and they was putting that fire in there on them Germans. This what y'all finna get done.
Says they shall run like the lightnings.
Right, that's how fast these ships is. Anybody ever? Matter of fact, have anybody been able to count the speed of light? That's what you're dealing with. Now I see why these Russian submarines couldn't get away from them. So they're gonna be seem like light. That's their speed.
Okay, that's it.
Oh, okay. Go a little bit more on here because it's gonna say how fast they was going. It's gonna tell them on why they couldn't get rid of them.
Just read up or just.
It gotta be.
Ocean U. Oh, show up.
No, this part. Go down a little bit. Got 50 meters to catch the strain. They get in here. That's okay. Because they were saying that they go so deep and they was going trying to chase it that it took off. And if you accounted the speed to what they do in the air, it was doing like 200 to 900 miles an hour. But that's okay.
In the water.
Yeah, in the water. I was shocked. I was like, damn.
Nothing go that fast in the water.
Right, exactly. Let alone man.
The water's too dense for that to even happen. So, and that's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with the angels, the angelic beings. All right,
Yeah.
so they're not of this world, right?
Okay.
It's celestial.
Psalms 68. Psalm 68:13. I got it. Psalm 68:13 to 17. Though ye have linen among the pots, yet shall ye be as the wings of the dove, covered with silver, and her feathers with yellow gold. Anybody want to say something? When the Almighty scattered kings in it, he's talking about the ships, man. Now, what do you mean by he scattered kings in this? And it was white as snow in Shalom. The hills of God is as the hills of Bashan, the high hill as the hills of Bashan. But the point was, 13, though he have linen among the pots, yea shall ye be as the wings of the dove, covered with silver, and her feathers with yellow gold.
That's another allegory of talking about the chariots.
Yeah. When the Almighty scattered kings in it, it was white as snow in Shalom. Now, if you knew if the scriptures was true, right? He said he scattered kings in it, right? Now, do we have any kings in the modern days? No. When America was founded, they gave us a president, gave us a Senate House. They got rid of all the kings. So if this Bible is true, it should be some historical archaeology record of him scattering kings in the ships. If this Bible is true. So hold us to that.
All right, this is Isaiah 60:8.
Yeah, the 13.
It says, who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God.
Right, so how we leaving this place? In ships.
In ships.
And we taking y'all gold and our kids and y'all kids and ships. In what? Ships.
Yep.
It says, into the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee.
So all you nations going into slavery. So when those ships come, that's our salvation, that's y'all slavery. That's why y'all armies are getting ready for it.
It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Right, so we had our ass kicked We here today as y'all puppet slaves with these by names and so forth, and now we coming back to our power.
Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles.
Y'all got to bring us all y'all suffering,
Yep.
starting with y'all women.
You don't hate that one. It says, in that their kings may be brought. It says, for the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish.
See that? And that's self-explanatory.
And that's something about Esau, because they tell you in Revelations that they still didn't repent. So
Yeah.
it say for thy nation. Read the last part again.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish.
Right, that's talking about the so-called white man.
And guess what? Yahushua said the same thing. He said he used a parable.
Yeah, and
Right?
Luke.
He said, slay them before me.
Yep.
Right?
And in that word when he said, "Well, I should not reign," that word "reign" is a Greek basilio or basilu, which means to reign upon or to rule over.
It says, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
Utterly wasted. And I wonder how. Maybe those ships that's in Nahum that's going to be raging through the streets give y'all a glimpse of what kind of force y'all going to have to fight.
Yep.
Just in case you didn't want to get along with the program. We're giving you a glimpse of your ass kicking. That's what you're getting today.
You better watch Independence Day, The World of Worlds.
Yeah.
And you know that proves the same spirit that Yahushua was in the New Testament. He wasn't about this buddy love spirit. He was actually talking about vengeance.
Yep.
Yep. So here's verse 13. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary.
Jerusalem and his people.
Yep.
See, y'all got to bring us all that shit to beautify who? Not those goddamn land, the people.
Us. Yep.
Why you think it said y'all gonna bring all y'all, the Gentiles gonna bring all their substance, they kings, their kids gonna minister to us, everything. Cause you gonna beautify, you know how you say them black, nappy head, ashy motherfuckers, that they need a lot of work, like my son for instance. I was just looking at that, I said, damn. I said, this little boy need a lot of goddamn work. This boy need like 3 goddamn maids. Every time you look up, his lips crusted and shit, head nappy, got to pick that motherfucker 2-3 times and shit. And I said, damn boy, you take a lot of, stuff out of people. Oh, don't worry about it, they bringing it. Now I see why we need so much getting oiled up and all that shit. I used to wonder why. Because everybody got to bring us their shit.
I call that special needs.
Right.
We special.
I put that
We
on
special,
peculiar
and we
people.
got a lot of needs.
Yeah.
All right. It says, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. So so Jerusalem is gonna be glorious, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna be outfitted with the best.
This Exodus 40 and 34. Always got to do some history because this ain't new to us. That's why, the UFOs is in Exodus. Yeah. This Exodus 40 and 34. Then a cloud. Y'all wish y'all coming back in what?
Cloud.
A cloud. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. That's the same thing in Luke. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation. I wonder why. I wonder why Moses. Okay, you standing there, right? Try to picture this shit. You standing there, right? A cloud coming descend upon the congregation, right? So Moses like, damn, I can't even go in. I always wondered why. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation because the cloud abide thereon. But he was going to walk through the ship. So when did Moses become a spirit? I can't walk through this table. I can't walk through that wall. So it wasn't no goddamn invisible cloud where you can like look through and walk through. It was a ship.
Yep.
We not in our second bodies, our glorious bodies.
Yep, terrestrial.
That's why
we in terrestrial. We ain't
Because
in
we
our
would've been
celestial.
to walk through the motherfucker.
Yeah, we would have been able to vibrate all our molecules in our body just to walk through that.
Right.
They expose
X-Men
that on
shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Matrix.
Right.
The two motherfuckers with the dreads.
Right. Those angels, cuz
Yeah,
those
yeah.
angels.
Yeah.
Look, Moses wasn't no angel. That's why he couldn't go in there. That's how we know it wasn't no damn cloud as a cloud in the sky. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation because the Lord abided thereof, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. They couldn't even move because the ship was covering a motherfucker. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not until the day that it was taken up. Meaning the ship had to rise up and leave to give them space to get under that motherfucker and get to moving. So it wasn't like, hey, when we leaving? Nigga, let me see you walk around that. Right, shut your ass up. For the cloud of the Lord was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on it by night. Why? It turned on the engines. Independence Day. That's why the little boy came out the camp and said, "Oh shit."
Yep. And the chariots was lighting up their walks, lighting up they paths. So it was dark. You wasn't no lights out. So the chariots was shining the light so they can walk through. And then in the morning they was covering it as a cloud,
right,
to protect from the sun.
Right. Was that too hard to figure out?
Right, because they had street lamps.
Right.
Right. For the cloud of the Lord was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on by night, and the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys. So we grew up looking at that.
Yep.
That's why we can go in now and show you that belongs to us, because we them same men waking back up.
Yep.
That's right. This is Revelations chapter 11, verses 11. It says, "And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying."
Explain to them who that great fear that's in.
Right.
I'll be messing this up sometime.
It says, "And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud."
Yeah, that's talking about the prophets. We was ascended up with in the chariots.
That's right.
And the fear is talking about the elites. They had great. That goes hand in hand with Wisdom of Solomon 5. They had great fear because they saw us those strange, the strangeness of our salvation. That's explained.
Right. So it says, and their enemies beheld them.
See?
Right? So they gonna actually see
witness.
us.
Yep.
Go up in them go up in them ships. All right.
And you two, you blacks, Native Americans, our nation gonna watch this too.
Yep.
Y'all gonna fear too.
Yep.
It says, "In the same hour was a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake."
The 10th part of the city is talking about America, because America is one big how you say it?
Municipality.
Thank you,
Municipality.
yeah, it's all one city.
Yeah.
So what's the 10th part? Easy. Go look on the goddamn what you call that? Project Megiddo, where they got the 10 sections.
The regions,
of America and shit. I meant to get that motherfucker.
It says, "Were slain of men 7,000." Just means completion.
Correct.
It says, "And the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven."
Yep.
All right. Yeah.
So the raiment is us. We the raiment, and it said that we gonna fear too in that day.
Scarcely saved.
Yeah, but we gonna praise Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah
Okay.
and say, hey, that's our salvation. That's our King. That's our Lord. And shit, He's the Lord of Lords.
Right. So if you thought what we saying was, straight out of the blue or just straight out of our own tales, history has its own, own story.
The top one.
Yeah.
So Civilian Military Intelligence Group.
Right.
A discussion of military history, strategy, and soldiers. All right. Alexander the Great.
Right. Our
And
famous
UFO.
hero.
Alexander the Great and UFOs. All right. It says the first recorded incident regarding Alexander the Great and UFOs was recorded in 329 BC Alexander decided to invade India and was attempting to cross the river Indus to engage the Indian army when gleaming silver shields, like the scripture was saying, it was saying silver and gold. All right, so that matches up. That was
98.
was it Psalm 68? Yeah. So this is they're saying the same exact thing.
Yep.
Right.
What is it? Psalm 68
And 13.
13?
Yeah.
Psalm 68:13. Though he have linen among the parts, yea shall ye be as the wings of the dove, covered with silver,
Mm-hmm.
The
and
silver.
her
wings,
feathers with yellow gold. My bad.
yeah,
brother.
with the wings of silver. All right. The wings represents the chariots flying. All right.
Okay.
Shall be as the wings of a dove, covered with silver.
Exactly. So the wings of a dove is explaining in parabolic form. All right. So those chariots, like Alexander and them saw, like it says, gleaming silver shields. All right.
And her feathers with yellow gold.
That's right. It says, swooped down and made several passes over the battle. All right. It says, these gleaming silver shields had the effect of startling his cavalry horses, causing them to stampede. They also had a similar effect on the enemy's horses and elephants, so it was difficult to ascertain whose side these gleaming silver shields were on. Nevertheless, after exiting the battle victoriously, Alexander decided to not proceed any further into India. Okay,
Right. See,
because
so
the spirit,
right. Go ahead.
because the spirit basically told him not to do that. All right.
He knew.
Right.
Motherfucking ship said, all right, listen up. Take your ass that way. And you motherfuckers go that way.
Because he allowed him a limited providences for him to take over to fulfill his purpose, man. 7 years later, Alexander was confronted with the greatest challenge of his military career. Yeah, that was it then, right?
Yeah, go down a little bit more.
Okay. It says 7 years later, Alexander was confronted
Completion.
with the greatest challenge of his military career. In his attempt to conquer the Persian Empire, he realized that the city of Tyre needed to be captured in order to prevent the Persians from using that port to land an army behind him. The original coastal city of Tyre had been destroyed before and had been rebuilt some distance offshore from its original site. Having no navy, Alexander decided to use the remains of the old city to build a causeway to the new one. It took Alexander 6 full months to do this, and when the task was completed and his troops staged their assault, they were easily rebuffed because the walls were too high to quickly scale and too thick to batter down. Not only that, but the causeway was too narrow to allow sufficient troops to launch a massive enough attack to overwhelm the enemy in order to scale the walls. Oh, okay. It says not only was this a problem for Alexander, but apparently a problem for God as well. Both the prophets Ezekiel and Isaiah had spoken of God's curse and eventual destruction of Tyre, Ezekiel chapters 27 and 28, and Isaiah chapter 23. So the Bible falls right in line with history. All right, or with the history falls in line with the Bible. All right. So it says how was Alexander going to achieve his goal? How was God going to ensure that his prophecy would be fulfilled? All right, which the Most High ain't got no problem with that anyway. Okay.
That's why I'm gonna push it real quick.
Okay.
Just a little bit more, cuz.
All right.
Did it hit the city of Tyre?
Yeah.
Okay. Go a little bit in here, cause like we ain't playing with them. My bad, bro.
You good?
No, I be getting excited. Just a little bit, like just this and this and just this little part.
Okay.
Cause this Wikipedia shit, man. But see, they left something out. They left out about the UFO.
Right.
It says, name of Alexander the Great in hieroglyphs written from right to left, circa 330 BC. Louvre Museum.
Same thing,
As you
never
can
seen.
see.
Yeah, I got it. All you gotta do is just go on Alexander the Great, Alexander the Great,
Axe Jeeves Encyclopedia.
encyclopedia. Yep.
All right. It says, is another picture, detail of Alexander mosaic, showing Battle of Issus,
Yeah, Battle of Issus. Yeah.
right, from House of the Fawn, Pompeii. Okay. And the UFOs helped Alexander in his battle. All right. So this is under the topic Egypt. It says when Alexander destroyed Tyre, most of the towns on the route to Egypt quickly capitulated, with the exception of Gaza. It says the stronghold at Gaza was built on a hill and was heavily fortified. It says at the beginning of the siege of Gaza, Alexander utilized the engines he had employed against Tyre. After 3 unsuccessful assaults, the stronghold was finally taken by force, but not before Alexander received a serious shoulder wound, as in Tyre. The male population was put to the sword, and the women and children were sold into slavery.
Right, but see, they left those ships out, so we got it.
Yeah, they did it again. Keep going.
Yeah.
It says Jerusalem, on the other hand, opened its gates and surrendered.
I wonder why.
And according to Josephus, Alexander was shown the book of Daniel's prophecy, presumably. You see that? Alexander was shown the book of Daniel's prophecy. Daniel was prophesying about Alexander coming in power.
Yeah.
All right, and that's another reason why he had so much confidence. It says presumably, chapter 8, where a mighty Greek king would subdue and conquer the Persian Empire. Thereupon Alexander spared Jerusalem and pushed south into Egypt.
See that? So let's see if that's true. Daniel's 8:3. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before me a river, a ram which had 2 horns, which is the Medo-Persian Empire.
Okay.
And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other one, because the Persians surpassed the Median with their splendor and power, manpower, and taking down other nations. And the higher came up last, which was the Persians. And I saw a ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. That's the Persians taking everybody down. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was concerning, behold, and he goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. Alexander was known as a leopard, so he was quick in battle. I just got to laugh because I just seen the movies and shit. And we gonna fuck you crackers up the same way this is written. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes, and shit, which is Alexander the Great. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I have seen standing before the river, and ran into him in his fury and power, taking the Persians down. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram and brake his 2 horns. I mean, he took the power down from him. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stomped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. That's because Alexander chased Darius all over the world till he actually, well, they say in the movie, they said that he Darius man ended up killing him. So Alexander went on a hunt after them for doing him like that, because he wanted to do it.
Because he kept fleeing in battle.
Yeah. He was like, "You coward!" You could see it in his eye. I just seen the movie Alexander the Great this week. Therefore, the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was breaking. And for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. Meaning when Alexander went down, he gave his 4 companions his state kingdom. Now let's see what it. Yeah, that's next. Real quick, cause Cuz ready. Daniel's 8:20. The ram, cause it breaks it down for you. The ram, Daniel's 8:20. Cause they're like, man, what verse was that? The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia.
Give it to
And
you
the
right
my bad. And the rough goat is the king of Greece. And the
Which
great
was Philip and his son Alexander.
yeah. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. That's why I said the horn between his eyes. That's Alexander the Great.
first king.
Now he was
It
the
says
first
right
king.
here.
Yeah. Actually.
See, they took this out the scripture,
Yep.
1611.
That's the reason why.
Yeah. And fuck the book of Enoch and fuck the book of Yasher. And how you say it one time?
Yasher.
Yasher. Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that, Alexander the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, has smitten Darius the king of the Persian and
the
Medes.
Medes.
And Medes, thank you. That he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Remember, he was the first king.
First over
There you
Greece,
go.
he keeps
Oh, I'm
saying.
sorry. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strongholds and ruled over countries and nations and kings who came tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So y'all want to do this?
Lasamachus, Antigonus,
Antigonus got Asia Minor.
Cassander.
And
The nigga out the.
Oh yeah, Cassandra got Macedon.
Yeah.
was it Antagonist? No, it wasn't Antagonist.
Yeah, because I got
Lasamachus,
Antagonist, which was
Antagonist,
Okay,
Seleucus, and
It's a
Ptolemy.
switch.
yeah, because he was only alive for about what?
Yeah, I think it was a year or a couple of months until he took him down.
Ptolemy
Something
took
around there.
Egypt. How you say his name? Cassandrus.
Cassandra.
Yeah, he took Macedon. Who was this? Seleucus took the Babylonian Syrian Empire.
Yep.
And Lacedaemonius, how do you say
That's
it?
a Maya.
Yeah, Lacedaemonius. He took Asia Minor. And that's the history of, history. That's prophetic news on the UFOs and what's coming to a theater near y'all.
Right.
Yep. That's it.
All right, with that, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah, and double honors to the apostles of great ministers.
Right, if not, get on our level.
Right.
So,
Sometimes they don't want to